The concept of creation differentiates Christianity from non-Christian accounts of God's relation to the world. Four main accounts can be discerned. First, there is the one given by Plato in his book Timaeus. According to this, God is the supreme craftsman. He does not create the world out of nothing. He imposes form and order on unformed and disordered material that exists independently of Him. Therefore, He is not infinite or unconditioned being. He is limited and conditioned both in His vision and in His action by, on the one hand, the world of eternal forms, and the other, pre-existing matter. His task is to fashion out of the matter an imitation of and participation in the forms. Although He may be called God, He is in fact no more than a superhuman artist. Secondly, there is the view propounded by the Neoplatonists, Plotinus, who held that the world is the last in a series of decreasingly real emanations from the One. The One did not create the world ex nihilo. Rather, the world flows from the One, in which that the latter transcendence remains unimpaired. The third non-Christian account of God's relation to the world is the one that has been most likely represented both in philosophy and in popular non-philosophical accounts of religion. It goes by the name pantheism, or, in its less extreme mode, panentheism. According to pantheism, God and the world are identical. According to panentheism, although God transcends the world as one part of His being, He also communicates another part of it. According to both views, therefore, the world is divine insofar as it is the expression of God's nature. In the ancient world, Stoicism was the most influential type of pantheistic philosophy. In the modern world, the 7th century philosopher Spinoza represents pantheism in its purest form. He held that everything in the world is a mode of God under one of His two attributes of thought or extension. A more dynamic interpretation of pantheism, or at least panentheism, was given in the 19th century by Hegel, for whom history was the self-development of God in ways that the human mind can rationally articulate. Fourthly, there is the process thought. This is a 20th century system of philosophical theology that was originated by Alfred North Whitehead, a mathematician and philosopher, that had been developed by Charles Hartshorne. It has an affinity with Plato's cosmology insofar as it represents God as introducing structure and meaning into a transcendently existing flux that He did not create. But its exponents go beyond Plato in distinguishing between two aspects of God, and by affirming that in one of His aspects, God changes through His response to the world. In His primordial nature, God exists externally and immutably apart from the world. In His consequent nature, He is constantly changing, constantly growing in perfection, and so surpassing Himself by including within Himself the world's experiences. Hence, at the end of the process and reality, Whitehead writes that it is true to say that God transcends the world as that the world transcends God, and that it is as true to say that God creates the world as that the world creates God.